Democracy Manifest.
News is mental. I think for, the past year, the news has just been mental. If you need a mental health day, I support it. Leave your name in the comment section. I'll write you a note to take a mental health day, because I think we all need it. I definitely need one. That's why I got my hat on. Yeah, mental health day. I think it's important. And you know what's even more important? Whether or not you believe, it's irrelevant. God deemed it so. God deemed it so. This is the Bible, Hebrews 4:9, telling us to take a mental health day. That's really what this is, loosely translated. So there remains a full and complete Sabbath rest for the people of God. Who are the people of God? All of us. Everyone. I don't care. You could say, oh, I'm agnostic. I don't know. I'm an atheist. I don't believe. I'm a whatever. I worship the spaghetti monster. I don't care. Everybody, the news has been so mental. I feel like, let's all just tap out for a day. We all just take one mental health day that lasts a month. I think that'd be in the best interest of the nation. But who's going to stay on the long watch, as I've been calling it, the long watch? We're on the long watch. I feel like John North, who went to the wall. John North, what was his name? John Snow. John Flurries. John Sleet. I don't remember. But he went to the wall. He was on the long watch for the night walkers. I feel like, all of us, the people, the 340-something million people that are in America, we're on the long watch now. You know what I mean? We're waiting for that one person to shuffle loose that mortal coil and become a White Walker. And then he can just haunt us from the afterlife. So we're on the long watch. We'll take a mental health thing later. The news is mental. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about all of it. Sinclair, remember, they took a big, bold stand against the First Amendment, and they said, we are not letting Jimmy Kimmel back on the air until he apologizes, donates, professes his love for traditional values, which, if you've been watching the channel for a while, we've been diving into the traditional conservative values of these so-called Republicans. RFK, who's in the Republican regime, he's had like 3 or 4 wives, and one of his wives, before she passed, God bless her, uncovered his journal where he documented 37 encounters of infidelity. We've documented Donald Trump's traditional conservative values, where he had 3 wives, cheated on all of them, one with a porn star where he paid her money to be quiet. It's known as hush money, where he was convicted and became a felon. We dove into Elon Musk. He has 15 or more kids. I couldn't tell you. I don't even think he knows. Through multiple wives. Who knows how many wives? Again, traditional conservative values. I'm just trying to figure out what they are. Because at this point, it looks like you got to have a lot of wives, a lot of kids, and a lot of cheating. And if you ask me, I'd rather stay woke. 1 wife and no cheating. I don't know. This is kind of woke, I guess, now, because the other side, which they proclaim, I would like us all to be a one people with universal healthcare. But Sinclair, my whole tirade on that is Sinclair was holding strong to the conservative values, wanted Jimmy Kimmel to apologize. Jimmy didn't. And Sinclair, suck it. Or as the president said in a news story today, go yourself. That's a real news story. We're going to talk about that when concerning citizens of America wanting health care. The president behind closed doors said, go yourself. So that would be my response to Sinclair. We're going to talk about Sinclair putting Kimmel back on the air, looking foolish. We're going to talk about Donald Trump.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
I hate to break it to you. This is Democracy Manifest in capitalist America. Politico has a story where the Republicans, if you don't know, they run the White House, the House of Congress, the House of the Senate, the House of Pancakes, the House of Ice, House of Dragons. They own it all right now. So if you're wondering why everything is superb here in America, It's because Republicans are doing whatever they want. You know, if you're wondering, hey, why was Jimmy Kimmel off the air? Well, he criticized the Republicans, and the corporations were trying to make their Republican leaders happy, and took him off the air. But now he's going back on. But Politico has a story about how the Republicans are trying to blame the Democrats for shutting down the government, and Democrats are just saying, hey, if you're gonna shut down the government, we want, where is it? We're gonna read the official language in a minute. What did he say? They want something. What he said? Oh, the subsidies. We're asking the GOP to extend certain Affordable Care Act subsidies, which were expanded by Congress in 2021. They're saying, hey, you know, the poor people, they should have some health care. And behind closed doors, Donald Trump said he blamed Democrats for making ridiculous demands, and then said he read all they're asking for and said, on second thought, go yourself. That's presidential language now, folks. That is presidential language. So when your kid says that to someone, you just go, he's taking after the president. He's going to be, look at him, the little president over there. Maybe a vice president, I don't know. Is he calling people dipshit? Because if he's saying that, you know, he's got vice president moxie. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how these poor soy boy farmers, my Christ. Well, we got to talk, I want to play this video for you. If you haven't heard the Daily Beasts podcast, it's amazing. I'm going to play it for you. Oh, here's that. Here's that. Look at that. White House. Trump read all the they were asking for, and he said, go. That's presidential language now, folks. Don't forget, Elon is in the Epstein files. Oh, I see we have a staunch defender of fascism. Speaking of, hold on, let me get out my bot glasses, because I found these at a Cracker Barrel bathroom floor, the public restroom at a Cracker Barrel. These were on the floor, and these sunglasses can identify any deep fakes, any bot army, anything. So I see CK, T-Mac, all the bots are here, ready to defend their overlords with their troll accounts. Good on you. Keep, you know, praying that, you know, a guy running this in Albania. Wait, what's it called? Where are the bot farms out of? What are those countries? The famous countries that the bot farms come out of?
Azerbaijan and Albania.
Azerbaijan and Albania. Hopefully Elon keeps paying you guys a good amount of money. So yeah, we'll talk about this. Sinclair gets nothing it asked for and puts Jimmy Kimmel back on the air. But this, did you guys see this? Remember the Cracker Barrel outrage? I hate to break this to people, but a lot of the stuff that becomes viral, I feel like is, you know, I put these on and I go, oh, shit. Turns out no one gives a about Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel probably hired a bot farm from
Azerbaijan and Albania.
From Azerbaijan and Albania, and Cracker Barrel made news. And then people started being like, yeah, I love Cracker Barrel. Which, no, you don't. I've never even been to one. I don't know where they are. Where are they? Oklahoma? I don't know. I've never been to one. We'll never go to one. And it turns out, doesn't it make more sense that lots of people, doesn't that make more sense than lots of people caring about Cracker Barrel? I mean, just think about it, folks. You know, when's the last time you heard about Cracker Barrel? Never. And then they changed, Trump should be in prison, 100%. Thank you. And then they changed their logo, and to make some hubbub, they probably paid a bot farmy out of the countries.
Azerbaijan and Albania.
Yes. Everything's
computer.
It is. You have to be careful. So Cracker Barrel, I don't know if it was them. The story, which I've linked down below, says, did something feel off about the whole Cracker Barrel debacle to you? And I thought, yes, because I've never been to that one. Is it like the ground round? Is it like ground round eats Chuck E. Cheese? Is it a Chuck E. Cheese for the Midwest? What is Cracker Barrel? I have no idea, nor do I care actually, so don't answer. And it said, did you, in the midst of the endless stream of outrage directed at the Southern country-style restaurant, too much information, I don't care, pause and think, there's just no way anyone cares about Cracker Barrel's logo. Nobody does. Nobody does. Nobody did. And they say, well, and you might have been onto something. According to data compiled by intelligence platform Peak Metrics, nearly half of the early posts about Cracker Barrel's logo change appeared to be generated by bots. The bots. Peak Metrics grabbed a sample of 52,000 posts made on Twitter. They call it X now because a Nazi bought it, who's in the, this guy, Alon, the guy who always looks like he came out of a Hot Topic.
Why does Elon Musk dress like he just got out of a Hot Topic?
I don't know. He always does. He just wants to be loved, you know. And he found a good, well, to him probably good, but he found a crowd of people like Ghislaine and Jeffrey Epstein who would, you know, give him the love he deserved. But this guy bought Twitter, and it became just a cesspool. And they said 52,000 posts made on Elon's website within the first 24 hours of Cracker Barrel's announcement that it would be modernizing its logo to an admittedly very plain and generic design. In that time frame, I found 44% of all mentions of Cracker Barrel were flagged as likely or higher bot activity. Those numbers climb even higher when boycott is mentioned. About 1,000 posts in the first 24-hour period on people to stop eating a Cracker Barrel, and 49% of those posts flagged likely coming from bots. So this is, you know, interesting. It's interesting to see how a billionaire can buy a website and just allow, you know, whatever he allows to go viral. And he's in control, folks, so don't try to let him skirt the blame. He takes all the admonishment when, you know, something good happens on there. He likes to brag about it, so let's give him all the credit when, you know, fake viral news stories about Cracker Barrel start going. So if you didn't see it, I thought you should read, because this is also, you know, not everybody can have a pair of deep fake glasses like I do. I found these at the Cracker Barrel in the parking lot. I was leaving Cracker Barrel saying, well, not enough barrels or crackers. Well, there were a ton of crackers in there. White people all over the place. But not enough barrels, you know. I was expecting to have my supper inside of a barrel. And because they didn't have enough barrels, I left. And on the way out, boom, I saw these. I picked them up, I put them on, and I could identify not only bots, deepfakes, AIs, familiars. I could see people's familiars. Like if they had an invisible cat with them, I could see it. I could read tarot cards. I could decipher Rubik's Cubes. There was an abundance of things I could do as soon as these glasses came on. So I need more people to be trying to read the news or look into these viral events. If you see Cracker Barrel's trending, you go, well, when is the last time Cracker Barrel has been thought about? Never. Okay, so this is probably a bot news story. And maybe that's what we should do. We should start covering stuff as potentially bot army news. I don't know, maybe we'll call it that. All right, let's see who's here. Women's glasses, haha. Really? Really? Does that scare you, William, that I wear women's glasses? Is that threatening your manhood? Because if so, I hate to break it to you. You're not the skibbity rizma you think you are. I can wear women's glasses and pull it off. But I'm sure if you threw on some women's glasses, all your friends would start to tease you, saying, no homo, dude, right? As you guys, like, gently punched each other just a little bit longer, wondering if he's flirting or not. Don't be insecure in whatever you are. And just by those comments, again, guys, sometimes your comments say more about you than they do about me. I love wearing these women's glasses. And I don't care how many Williams say, women's glasses, huh? You need mental help. Did you say that to Kurt Cobain when he wore women's glasses on that magazine cover? Did you say that to Kurt Cobain when he wore that dress at that show? Or are you keeping your little mouth shut, huh? Hey, Michael O is here. Damn Yankee's here. Me and Damn Yankee don't agree on much, but look at that damn Yankee. He's here. KRAR. Good to see you, buddy. JG. Every time I see JG, I think of JG Wentworth, and then they start singing opera on that train, and I think, God damn you, capitalism, marketing. I like when people say, when you only have 125 viewers, it's actually 145. Get it right. You loser. Would you fail math? Loser. Haha. Nobody likes your live stream. All 129 are here. Loser. But I just got to take a pause because I said this is a mental health day, guys. The news is mental, you know? Everybody in control is friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Everyone. Democrats, Republicans. I know some of you are like, ooh, the Democrats, they're dangerous. People that wear women's sunglasses, that's threatening to my manhood. But here's the thing, guys. There's only two classes. There's only two teams. There's the wealthy that are friends with the Epsteins. And then there's the rest of us that work. And sometimes you pledge your allegiance to these wealthy people in hopes, like the soy boy farmers. Let's see. Some of these soy boy farmers, man. Oh, wait, don't read that. That's going to ruin the soy boy farmer story. I'm a soy boy farmer who voted for Trump. I'm begging the president to end the trade war. And this is from April, bitches. You should read the stories now. The stories now where Donald Trump's like, oh, my fascist friend in Argentina who crashed the economy because of the shock doctrine. Disaster capitalism needs $20 billion bailout. Don't worry, buddy. The money's coming. And the soy boy farmers who since April have been begging the president, they're like, Mr. President, sir, we voted for you. We pledge our allegiance to the Trumps and the MAGAs of America and to the maggots that which it stand on cankles for one and all. Whatever. It probably ends with something with Epstein. I don't know. But those people who since April have been pleading with this man, you ain't heard a word from him. He don't care about you. He don't care about you. I know you think the stripper loves you. I know you think so. But Donald, she didn't. That's why you had to pay her the hush money, because she didn't care. No loyalty. Just like Donald has no loyalty to you. So when you're a soy boy farmer begging since April, and then he hears his buddy, his fascist friend in Argentina needs a bailout before the election, he's like, 20 billion. Psst. FedEx that, or whatever they do. Zell it. Hey, Malay, do you have Zell? We're going to sell you that 20 million, buddy. Don't worry. We'll take care of your whole economy, whatever you need. And the soy boy farmers are like, could we get some help? And he's like, you know what, soy farmers? I'll give you the money from the tariffs, okay? Whenever that starts coming in. Just hold tight. They've been waiting since April. And he's like, just hold tight. And some of these people still believe in him. Meanwhile, he's, throwing 20 billion down to Argentina. I don't know if that's America first or how you define it. It's confusing to me. That's why I say this stuff is mental, man. I need a mental health day from trying to understand these people. They're like, we want America first. So send Argentina 20 billion and let the soy farmers in Arkansas fail. Okay, that's a weird policy, but you guys got it. You got it. This is more than Malay. Yeah, you see this? Scott Bessent, what an absolute turd. He says, yesterday I spoke extensively with President Malay and his senior team in New York. As President stated, we stand ready to do what is needed to support Argentina. I don't see Scott Bessent, talking about the soy farmers at all. But, it's a weird America First policy. James Smith says, the fact that any of you think for a second any politician cares is funny as F. Yeah, I mean, we don't need much more proof. Republicans have controlled the House of Dragons, the House of Congress, the House of Senate, the House of Pancakes, the House of White, House of Gold, whatever it's called now. They control it all, and they're ignoring it. In fact, they're sending billions of dollars to Argentina right now. sending billions to Israel right now. They don't care. But here's the thing, where I'll give it to you. If we elected Democrats, I don't know how much they'd be sending overseas, but I know one thing: they wouldn't give us that universal health care, that sweet, sweet health care we all need to live. So that's where we're in a conundrum. Just ask the Bible. I did. I showed you. And the Bible said we need a mental health day, guys. Hebrews 4:9. Get your Bibles out, everybody. Even those agnostics. You just go to a hotel. They're in every room. So there remains a full and complete Sabbath rest for the people of God. And I know some of you guys are going to go, no. They're not people. They're all people of God. Okay? Everybody is. There's no club. There's no sign up. I know Joel Osteen keeps telling you to send him seed money. It's like he's a goddamn startup capitalist, some adventure capitalist looking for the seed money. Isn't that suspect that Joel Osteen gets on TV and he's like, I need the seed, plant the seed money. He doesn't say money, but he calls it a seed. And adventure capitalists, I call them adventure capitalists. Yes, I do. Because they're adventurous, They love to gamble with other people's money. Those adventure capitalists also call it seed money, to start up. And Joel's a good capitalist, I can't say much about him following Christ, but he's definitely a great capitalist. He's got a lot of that money. Everything was better before Trump. Yes, thank you. Two wings, same bird. When the idiot's going to realize. Thank you, Tex Bullington. That is one heck of a name, I gotta say. Tex Bullington. Hey, me and Tex Bullington going down to round up some raptors. They let them out of the new Jurassic Park. Wait until MAGA finds out about the Panama Papers. Why Trump is, the Panama Papers. That was like a thing for a minute. And then, the infighting against people who have to work every day started up again. It's so sad because, guys, there's not a lot of them. There's like a Forbes 500 list. What could there be? 500 of them, Michael? There's like not a lot. If we were just all like, all right, guys, let's put aside our differences, Some people believe in conservative values and worship philanderers and infidelities, and people who have bunches of marriages. And then the other people just want healthcare, And I wish we could just put those two things aside, and I wish we could just all agree for one day. Universal healthcare helps all of us. I know sometimes I say that, and people are like, not with my tax money. And I'm like, you dummy. If anything ever happens to you, you get to use the universal healthcare. I want you to understand that. I'm fighting for you to not have to pay a copay for the ambulance, an ER visit if your kids get sick, if your parents, need medication. So we're not all eating cat food at 68 while we still have to work because they keep moving the retirement age. Are you paying attention? You paying attention? Some of you are, I know. Joel Osteen has more than creepy eyes, folks. He has that creepy Slender Man head, He looks like, what is that Roblox game? There's a Roblox game. Ooh, I should make a Joel Osteen Roblox game where you try to CD all the money out of people. Colt C45. I'm type 1 diabetic. I name them. Yeah, so Colt, I have some friends that are diabetics and family members. And just talking with, this friend that's diabetic, he's like, I got to pay $2,000 to live. This is what some of you maybe don't understand. Our neighbors to the north in Canada, last year, I talked about it here on the live stream, they made insulin free for everyone, whether you have national health care or private health care. America could do that. We could do even better. We could just, I don't even know how you do it better, but Trump's like promising 1,000% off of prescription drugs. So they pay you. I don't know. Don't get mad at me. Not my president, but your president saying 1,500% off of prescription drugs, which just in math terms, that means the drug companies pay you to take it. Because once you get over 100% off, they owe you money. There's no other way. But again, that's why the president does say, hold on, what does he say? He said something, and I don't know if he was being a dum-dum, but hold on.
Educated. I love the poorly educated.
Okay, he loves the poorly educated. So maybe those people who, when he said 1,000% off, they went, woohoo, hot dang, that's a good deal. Hot dog, sir, can't wait. Isn't Joel Osteen's church already essentially selling microtransactions? Yes. And the worst part is when they're in need, he does not serve the community. So tax his church. And it's so crazy, man, because like people need insulin to live. We've figured it out. And by the way, it wasn't United Health CEO who figured out insulin. I'm not going to look up who it was, but I just know this, that all the insurance companies, MetLife, what are the other ones? Blue Cross, those insurance companies, they didn't invent insulin. And they make it for very cheap. And then they turn around and jack up the price of it and gatekeep it from people who need it to live. You die without it. And somehow, even in this chat, well, I know, I have my glasses. If you're just joining, these glasses can identify chat GPTs, bot armies, Cracker Barrel bot armies. If you have bad breath, I can identify a whole bunch of stuff. But I see some of you bots in here, just arguing to argue. You just want to have a world where the Epstein files don't exist, and I don't know. Trump says you're a good boy. I don't know. But it's sad because I would hope every American would go, yeah, I think anyone who needs insulin should have it at no cost, at zero cost. Not even our tax money. Billionaires who can afford a billionaire tax. And if they can't, just save your comments. Guys, if you're going to say, why tax billionaires? Any of those stupid comments, just shut up. Because if a billionaire can't afford a billionaire tax, they're living outside of their means. I've heard this about my life. You've heard it about yours. We've heard these politicians lecture us. Don't get a new iPhone. Why are you eating avocado on your toast? Why are you eating toast? You shouldn't be having food in the morning like the Wall Street Journal said, or New York Times. They said, you're eating in the morning? What are you, rich? And they're doing all this propaganda to make you think we're living outside of our means. But really, the only people living outside of their means are the ones who have means. And that would be billionaires. And if they go, we can't afford a tax, then I would say, maybe Jeff Bezos, you shouldn't be renting Venice, the entire city in Italy, for your second wedding. Maybe that's a first wedding rental, Jeff. And maybe you're living outside of your means. Elon, you bought a whole website, buddy, and you really lost its value. 70% of Twitter's value went down. Are you living inside of your means when you're spending all that money on websites? And I'm just, I just want to bring that same attention because these are billionaires. They don't worry about rent. They don't rent. They don't worry about egg. They don't egg. They don't worry about utilities or staying warm in the winter or cool in the summer. They don't worry about the gas in their planes. That's right, I said planes because they don't drive cars. They have drivers. So they have planes. And if these billionaires can't afford that tax, I don't know. Maybe don't take your private plane everywhere. Maybe don't rent a city for a second wedding. By the way, whenever I bring up Jeff Bezos' second wedding, I always like to cheers him. I was the best man at a few weddings, so I got a little bit of experience on this subject. Here's to you, Jeff, and whatever this one's name is. Here's to a messy second divorce. May you cause another woman to be a billionaire and just by marrying her. Let's check the comments. I'm not going to put on the bot glasses yet. Who said something's not happening? Canada is kicking our ass. Just in world relations, okay? I don't know if you've been paying attention to this little thing called international relationships. It's a fickle concept, but it's usually like how you act on the world stage, and Canada is mopping the floor with us. Oh my God, sorry. I'm a little allergic to international relations, so I burp. I told you today was a mental health day. That's why if you're wondering, who is this Bible thumper yelling at me? I'm Rob. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I go live. I do a live stream where we joke about the news because the news is mental, man. you know. I'm like Fox News, but I'm pro-worker, you know. I'm like, Fox News is just entertainment opinion pieces, so I'm very much in the Fox News, but I'm like pro everyone not dying from, you know, lack of insulin or cure we already have. I'm just pro people, man. I'm really a Jesusan. I love what Jesus said. Jesus said, "Love your enemy." Jesus said, "Love your neighbor." Jesus said, "Be kind." You know, and I'm for that, man. You know, and who's your neighbor? Everyone. Everyone's your neighbor. It turns out, global economics. Hey, he bought Twitter to save free speech. Oh, that's funny. People are still regurgitating that lie. Especially because you didn't watch my video, Tyler, on what free speech constituted. I have a whole video on my YouTube channel about when he bought Twitter, and he said, what did he say? He bought Twitter because he wanted comedy to be something. What is it? Hold on.
Everything's computer.
I know everything's computer. Will you shut up? He bought,
Legalize comedy.
he wanted to legalize comedy, and then everybody made parody accounts, and he started banning everyone. So it's cute that you just believe stuff you hear. If you do, then you should believe that universal healthcare is a human right, Tyler. Because you just believe anything people tell you. So healthcare is a human right. Now go on and go regurgitate that somewhere else. Damn Yankee says, healthcare is not a human right, but it is a human right. Okay, I really want to play this audio for you. You can find it. I linked it down below, but I also am going to play it. It is absolutely amazing, this audio. Now, I'll give you the background. People elected this guy because they wanted Donald to release the Epstein files. In fact, most of his administrative regime is podcasters, TV guys. You know, they're all Dr. Oz, RFK. Well, he's just a Nepo baby, and he's kind of a Nepo baby, but he's a TV guy too. Cash App Patel, he was a podcaster. Dan Oingo Boingo. I don't remember his last name. Dan Bajina was a podcaster, and they're all like, Charles Kark, he was a podcaster. He was a big guy about releasing the files. And they were all like, we got to get him in charge so we can release the files. And maybe they hadn't seen this photo. Maybe they didn't know that, Donald was close friends. Maybe they didn't read the interviews where Donald was like, oh, me and Jeff have been friends forever. Or read the interviews Jeff Epstein said Donald is one of my closest friends. But these guys, there's a lot of guys and some women that were like, we're going to vote for this dude. We're going to vote for him because he's going to release the files, and we're going to catch Bill Clinton finally. And Larry Summers and Alan Dershowitz. We're going to get him, guys. We're going to get Elon Musk. They were like, we need Elon in charge. And maybe they didn't see this photo either. I don't know what you go and check out on the interwebs. I'm not sure. And don't worry, we'll get to Donald Trump saying, go F yourself, to people needing healthcare. But yeah, here it is. Elon Musk to Island, December 6th. Peter Thiel's in there, Steve Bannon. We went over this yesterday, guys. You could watch yesterday's show. But they voted for this dude. This is just the background before they play the audio. They voted for this dude going, he's going to release the files, and finally we'll get to that deep state ring that we've been talking about. And it turns out, wild plot twist, guys. We're in almost October, and the files are being fought tooth and nail. He does not want them released. He called... Holy shit. I don't know what that was. Sorry, presidential language. But he called his followers... what did he call them? Weaklings and stupid, if they followed in the Epstein file, or if they wanted the Epstein files out. He disowned them. So it turns out, this is crazy, he's not going to release them. The Democrats now, the House Oversight Committee, are releasing little bits and pieces. That's how we confirmed that Donald's friend, Alon, the guy who always looks like he just got out of Hot Topic, he's in them too. But who would have known, you know? What kind of evidence do we have? I mean, not much. Not much. We don't have a lot of evidence that he's in her boyfriend's files, you know? We knew his brother was. And we also know that they're illegal immigrants. Have I played this audio for you? Kimmel Musk saying that him and Elon are illegal immigrants. I hope ICE doesn't hear this, because you don't want them. I know they're going after everybody. Here it is.
They realized that we were illegal immigrants.
Oh, and then Elon was like, don't say that, bro. But this audio is of Donald Trump's biographer. This is Michael Wolff. Link down below. You can listen to it for yourself. And he's talking about when the FBI came because there were Polaroids. Well, you know what? I don't want to spoil it for you, but so you know the background. Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, this guy named Donald Trump, gets elected because these people were like, hey, Donald, you're going to release the files, right? And he goes on Fox News. He's like, yeah, of course I'd release that. People are like, hurrah, you know, we'll vote for you then. And it turns out he's all over the files. Plot twist. Oof, this is good drama. Yum, 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 yum. So listen to this, okay? I'm going to turn it up a little. I want you to hear this. I want you to pay close attention. He looks more like a Spencer's gift guy. Michael, I love you. Donald Trump is in the files, decoy. Oh, what's up, Soybean? Good to see you. Did I miss anybody? J666 is here. Good to see you. Good to see you, friend. And I already said hi to KRAR. We voted for him because he at least does something. Damn Yankee. He has done nothing. Maybe it's his bone spurs acting up. Remember when he had bone spurs? His friend's dad, who was a doctor, wrote him a bone spurs note to get out of Vietnam. And then his bone spurs went away right after Vietnam ended. Maybe they're acting up again. Because let's be honest, he does nothing. Go ask an Arkansas soy boy farmer how much Donald Trump is doing for him. Well, I guess you're right. Hold on, let me show you. I guess you're totally right. He has done something. He's going to send $20 billion of our tax money to Argentina for his fascist friend. So he did do something. You're right. He's sending $20 billion. Donald Trump is sending $20 billion to Argentina. All right, let's listen to this audio.
Being called up in front of Congress.
Actually, I was. Something I had said, he was confronted with this, and it was a very relevant point because I had pointed out the pictures that I had seen that Epstein showed of Donald Trump.
And this is Donald Trump with topless girls sort of leaning in on him.
Yeah, about a dozen pictures, all taken around the pool of Epstein's house in Palm Beach, the scene of the crime. And no one has seen that. Epstein kept them in his safe. And I mean, it's not unreasonable to assume that they were in the safe when the FBI came and raided Epstein's house. So Kash Patel was confronted.
I'm going to play for you a video clip of what Michael Wolff said Epstein told him was in the safe.
I was sitting talking to Epstein, and he said, wait a minute, I got to show you something. And then he went into his safe, and he came out with photographs. They were Polaroids, I think. He kind of spread them out like playing cards. I mean, I think there were a dozen of them, and it was Trump with girls of an uncertain age at Epstein's Palm Beach house. And he, just basically didn't respond, just stonewalled on that.
Are there any photos showing Donald Trump with girls of an uncertain age?
No.
How do you know that?
Because that information would have been brought to light by multiple administrations and FBI investigators over the course of the last 20 years.
Well, you know what? That's just not true, because no one knew about the creepy birthday message that Donald Trump wrote to Jeffrey Epstein until the Wall Street Journal disclosed it, and then all of a sudden, the Epstein estate provides it to Congress.
Well, he probably doesn't know, right? Because he doesn't seem to know very much at all.
Yeah, I mean, they may have disappeared at any point. I mean, remember, this happened, Epstein died in 2019.
You ever been called up?
My God, yo, if you haven't checked out the Daily Beast web YouTube channel, it's so funny. That's a podcast they call Inside Trump's Head or something. And that lady, I love it. So Trump with girls of an uncertain age. But again, damn Yankee. Like he said, we didn't know about the birthday card, but that clearly existed and was real, even though he'll never admit to anything. That's like part of his thing. But damn Yankee, you said you voted for Trump. Do you think people who abuse, the youths should be held accountable? Just curious, because if not, I personally don't want you coming back to this live stream, because, those survivors have horrifying stories, including ones of Trump. Cash Yap. That's his real name. That's his real name. I can't believe he works in a white supremacist regime. C. Dinger. I voted for Trump, but of course they need to be held accountable. Okay, now that I tell you, or now that you've said that, should Trump be held accountable? Or where is the disconnect here? How much smoke do you need until you go, okay, there's a fire over there? Yes, thank you. So you can at least admit, and that's good to see, man. That gives me faith in America. Because there are so many people that will fight it tooth and nail, bring up something else, distract, not answer, just like you saw Cash App say, no, doesn't exist. Multiple administrations would have released it. And Ted Lieu's cleverly like, well, there's a lot of stuff like that birthday card that, came out. J66 says, some of them do, but I forget his name. Dinger says, oh, that's a heck of a name to be talking about this topic. Dinger says he thinks Trump should be held accountable. I think so too, Maybe he's, gonna live through this regime, and then we can put him in prison after, because he needs to. He needs to. Again, I don't know how many people can be like, yeah, there's a lot of smoke, a lot of photos, a lot of people who met Epstein, like Michael Wolff, who did tens of hours of interviews, showing Michael Wolff Polaroids, which if you don't know what that is, maybe you're too young. There used to be cameras where you'd take a picture and come out right away, so you didn't have to get the film developed anywhere. So if it was suspect in nature, you just had the film right there. Showing Polaroids of what he said is Trump with topless girls of an uncertain age. That's not making our community safer. If you wonder why this guy is going so hard, like he's talking about sending the military to Portland, invading all this, supporting other creeps around the world like Argentina, sending, while the soy boy farmers are begging him for help, he's like, oh, guy that's a little fashy down in Argentina, let me help you out, let me throw you some bones. And he's like, don't worry, it ain't my money, it's these stupid taxpayers. I just want people to understand, that this dude don't care for you. He is in the files. Elon is in the files. And all these people own the media. They own the websites. They own the narrative. And you're buying it, folks. You're buying it. Hook, line, and sinker. Hook, line, and stinker, more like it. There's some new... We already talked about, look, if you were wondering why Cracker Barrel made the news at all, because they're not newsworthy. I don't even... where does Cracker Barrel exist? You know what? Too much information. I don't even care. I don't want to know. But the Cracker Barrel outrage was driven by bots, and that's from Peak Metrics, the intelligence platform Peak Metrics. They found that a good percentage of that driving force was them. Trump says he will send the troops to Portland, Oregon, in latest deployment to U.S. cities, which keep Portland weird, keep them out of. We don't want the military sent to American, Yeah, and you know how much that costs for all those people who like think they're, armchair economists, which I like to call them. It costs a lot. And the military doesn't need to do that. I would say, this is how crazy and radical I think. I would say instead of sending the military, take whatever money you're going to spend on them and give it to the farmers so they don't lose their farm. Even those people, the farmers that voted, like you saw, don't forget, Elon Musk is in the files officially. Here's the paperwork right down there. Wait, yeah, right. I can't read because of the chat. But he's in him and Peter Thiel, the two friends. But even the people who voted, I'm a soy boy farmer who voted for Trump from the Free Press article. I'm begging the president to end the trade war. Again, guys, this is from April. From April of this year. They've been begging him to help him because his trade war is basically making these people lose their livelihood. And even me, who I despise, I have disdain for this orange chicken in the White House, who is hurting Americans, who cheers on when Americans lose their job, who is a creep that was best friends with Epstein, that you would not want to, you can't trust him around his own daughter. That's how creepy this president is. This president says some wild stuff that's way out of line about his own kids. Never mind, you don't want him around yours. And even the people who voted for that, who knew, who had seen these photos and been like, oh yeah, I'll vote for him. These soy farmers, while he's taking our tax money to bail out his fascist buddies around the world, I would still say, instead of sending the military to Portland, take that money, that's our money, the taxpayer money. We have a socialist military funded by taxpayers. Take that money and give it to these farmers so their kids don't lose, their place to live, so they don't go hungry. God. The news is so mental. We all need a mental health break. We all need a mental health break because this guy is tireless. Even God said it. We need a rest for the people. Everybody's people of God, And I brought this up. I linked this down below. The Rise of Disaster Capital. I have the book over there. You should read Naomi Klein's book. If you're wondering what Milei is doing down in Argentina, it's been done in the 70s. When the CIA and Milton Friedman help coup the leftist president Allende, and they established the military dictatorship with Pinochet, so they could do free market, and it became an absolute nightmare. And disaster capitalism goes into how they wait for this moment of disaster. It's really interesting how they describe it because it's like a natural disaster, like the Kirk-Merc. Those are those shocking moments where they can come in and, decree stuff that was never, that you couldn't do without some kind of shocking moment. And that's why you saw them move so quickly on the Kirk-Merc for a racist, an absolute racist, because he didn't care. You see him at the funeral? Have you ever been to a funeral? I've been to a lot of them. I'm from America. A lot of my friends and family died way too young because they didn't have access to shit. Because people were lied to and said, oh, Oxy ain't addictive. Don't worry. Take a bunch of them. And there's no help. There's no help here in America. Everybody says, tough it out. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And a lot of those people that say that don't let you know that they get to live with their parents until they're 50. Don't let you know about their generational wealth. Oh, they moved into their parents' house. At least a lot of the people that I've had to encounter that say stuff like that, I'm like, haven't you been living in the same town your entire life? Did you live with your parents till you were 30, till you could save up and buy a home? Like, shut your mouth, All the people who I know that really had it tough are the most compassionate, understanding people that will be like, yeah, man, people need help. They know how cruel the system can be. Big Kahuna's here. Good to see you, man. I don't know what's going on in the chat. But anyways, so I encourage you to read the Cliff Notes. I tried to find a Cliff Notes version. You don't even have to read the whole book. Just if you want to understand what's going on with these shocking moments and how they capitalize on those moments, read this, please. My God. Mandy, you have a poisonous... Mandy, I timed you out, but before you go, oh, I didn't get to check if you were a bot. I have my bot glasses. But Mandy, let me tell you something. I don't know if you heard of this man named Jesus. Jesus, because a lot of people in America think they know him, and he's just going to say, "Get back from me, Satan," when they do meet him. And they're going to be crying, and there's going to be the gnashing of teeth, and they're going to go to that cold, hot place. Is it cold or hot down there? I don't know. I guess it depends on your personal preference, and then they keep it, the other way. But Jesus, when he walked around and saw people who were suffering, he didn't say, "Oh, so you're losing at life? Try harder, loser." And you got a lot of living to do, And what I do, Mandy, is I pray for you. I pray for you that you never have to experience the death that I've had to live through, that I've had to survive through. I pray that you never have to bury very young people. I pray that you never have to go through the heartache that I've gone through. And I pray that you can stay in that little bubble. Stay in that little bubble that keeps you safe. But while you're in there, something changes your heart. That's my prayer for you. That something changes your heart and you stop seeing people that are struggling, that are working multiple jobs, that are just trying to raise their kids and put food on the table and make sure that, there's some kind of recreation, as FDR once called it, in their life. And that you stop having so much hatred in your heart for those people. That's my prayer for you. Because when I see people struggling, the last thing I ever think is to call them a fucking loser. And the people that do that to people who are struggling, my God, I can't even describe what I think of those people. Because it's repulsive. I don't know if people in your life tell you this, but your insides, you might look fine, You might look like a normal, everyday human person walking around. But your insides, Mandy, are rancid. Rancid. You understand me? It's rancid for you to have that kind of mentality when people are talking about struggling and suffering. Especially when we talk about Republican soy boy farmers who are begging and pleading for their farms to be saved. Begging and pleading since April, you dummy. Since April, these Republicans said, "We voted for you. We're begging. We're going to lose everything." And I'm saying, stop spending money on the military to go into cities that don't need to be gone into because they're blue cities. Like, stop doing that. And take that money that you would have spent on the military and give it to the farmers. And those farmers might even vote against us having health care, but you know what? That's on them. That's not on me. And it's just absolutely, see, then there's Slash, the devil's a Democrat. Slash, I hate to break it to you, but everything bad happening right now is because have all these Republicans in charge. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, RFK, well, is he in it? A lot of this regime that, teaches you to not like Democrats, they're all in the Epstein files. They're all friends with this dude. They did heinous things. And somehow there are dummies in here thinking that this is a red versus blue discussion. It's not, folks. And it's just amazing. Anybody that can even talk about the devil and not understand that, it's people who, what did Jesus say? Make children stumble. Those people, the ones that trip up kids, that they would be better at putting off something heavy around their neck and walking into the ocean. And here we are having people in the year of our Lord 2025 saying the devil's a Democrat. You dummy. The Republicans control it all right now. They control it all. And they're letting your Republican friends, if that's how you see the world, which is so sad, stop seeing it like that. There's everybody who's trying to afford egg, and then there's people who are like, oh, the most important thing is we invade a city and give our fascist friends in Argentina 20 billion and not release the Epstein files. Like, that's their agenda, and ours is like, is our healthcare prices going to go up? Oh yeah, it is. 86% of Americans stress about food costs in the richest nation in the world. And there are dummies thinking this is like I just don't even understand. Like, guys, the Democrats are so spineless. They can't do they don't do anything. I'm not a Democrat, but I can tell you, they don't do anything. If anything, I call them Republican light, diet Republicans. They won't even stand up for it. We need a whole new party, a workers' party. These Christo-fascists are the meanest, most cruel, ungodly hypocrites I've ever experienced. Yeah, NK. I agree. And I don't even like to call myself a Christian because I just believe in Jesus, which technically means you're a Christian, but America has toxified the word Christian so bad. And it sucks. But, all my gay and trans friends know what kind of Christian I am because I love them. I love them I love them for who they are, And I hate that America has really toxified Christ's reputation to meaning give us seed money and watch us fly in private yachts and drive these private planes and we're going to have Lamborghinis and it's in the Lord's word so we can send his word around. And it's like, and then a hurricane comes into town. They're like, the church is closed. You got wet feet, Or they believe that Donald Trump has ever fucking read the Bible. 2 Corinthians, that dummy. I mean, if you believe in Jesus, he's going to have a talking with some of them. But it's sad, because I believe in Jesus. I believe he's the most radical person that's why his message today of love your enemy. If somebody asks you to walk a mile, go 2 with them. If your enemy's hungry, you feed him and give him a drink, and it will be like heaping coals on him. He had a radical message, and you don't see any of that. You see petty vengefulness, and that's why that girl Mandy that said, oh, you're just a loser at life. It's like, bitch, you know how hard I've worked? Do you know what I've overcome? Do you know how much I put into this live stream to try to get people's attention, to wake them up, to stop thinking that people who aren't billionaires have somehow failed? It's so amazing. At the same time that people who will work multiple jobs can't afford to live, and that if we give people stuff that will meet their basic necessities, they'll become lazy. But somehow those people still think billionaires worked hard enough. Well, what about if you meet their basic needs, they become lazy? I think billionaires have more than their basic needs met, and then I would say, well, they're lazy. Same people that don't want to tax billionaires, even though Christ was never like, you should really work on hoarding wealth. I'm telling you, man, that's why I needed a mental health day today. That's why today's live stream is just a mental health day. A divine manifestation. I love that. Paradigm shift. I love that. I love that. Hard to keep faith in these troubling times surrounded by evil. Well, the most amazing thing about that statement, Paul, is that people will see this guy who goes out and says, let's talk about this news story real quick. Well, I mean, we don't have to get off this picture. They'll see this guy with this photo, best friends with him, and have people be like, oh yeah, Epstein showed me him with girls of an uncertain age, topless, right? They'll see this fucking guy say this. This is a quote from an anonymous source in the White House telling him when Democrats, I know someone said devil is a Democrat. Democrats were like, extend the health care. What is it? Hold on, sorry. I don't have the thing in front of me. He said, we got to extend certain Affordable Care Act subsidies, which means, we're going to make sure that most poor people can still access their health care without the skyrocketing price, which is going to happen. And that's what the Democrats are fighting for right now, which isn't much. I mean, that's like such bottom of the barrel, but it's something, because this is, again, healthcare, which we all need. It doesn't matter if you're red or blue. You need healthcare to survive. If you get sick, something happens to you, you need that healthcare. So the Democrats are saying we're not going to go along with anything unless you extend the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, as some people call it. And Donald Trump heard that. He said, Trump read all the shit they're asking for and said, go yourself. That's presidential language, folks. Go yourself now. Just like I showed you J.D. Vance tweeting, calling John Favreau a dipshit. This is presidential language. And they'll hear people like this orange turd. They'll hear him say to poor people needing health care, go yourself. And they'll think he's a man of Christ, or he's furthering the Christian agenda. This is not the Christian agenda. And they don't realize that, I'm careful to call something evil or the devil or maybe a demon. I can see a demon popping out of that pig's mouth, that swine's mouth. Remember when Jesus sent the demons out of the kids into the swine, into the pigs, and they ran over the cliff? I love that story. Man, that's a good story. Maybe he was one of the swine. So maybe maybe he's possessed. But you got to be careful, And if people are going to say in the chat, who cares? Go, get out of here. Keep swipe. I know you like to swipe far right, as some comic said. KRAR, you literally have no empathy or decency in you for people that you haven't met. You think that everyone that you don't know hates you because you've been lied to about it. Who is that to? I don't know who that is to, KRAR, but last sheet of TP on the roll. Okay. Quote, go yourself isn't professional, it's not Christian. If anything, it's antichrist language and antichrist behavior. Agreed. Especially to people who are like, oh, we're going to die without healthcare. And that's the answer. Mandy's Candy. Love that. Would you make candy on YouTube? I'd like to know. I'm 42. I have Obamacare, and I would be dead without it. And I pay a lot for my healthcare, and it's going to get a lot more expensive. And it's cheaper than I could get anywhere else. And I'm on blood thinner, which is keeping me from dying, period. Mandy's Candy. See, I hear stuff like this all the day. All the live long day, as an old song once said. KRIR, not to you, to Tom. Yeah, I didn't think it was to me. I was just wondering what. Sometimes there's different conversations happening in the live chat, and I can't keep up. Mandy's Candy. Donald's millionaires and billionaires have always had the best of healthcare. Yes, and it's paid for by us. But Mandy's Candy, see, she's on a blood thinner. She's on Obamacare. It's the cheapest she could get. And I don't care and don't share. I don't care your religious affiliation. I don't care your political affiliation. This is what people need to understand. Stop listening to this orange turd, because people would call me a leftist, a Marxist, a radical, whatever. And I want you to understand something. I have no idea what her anything is. I don't give a shit about any of her beliefs. She should not have to pay money to stay alive. I don't care if she came out and don't say anything, Mandy, but I don't care if Mandy's Candy is like, I voted for Trump, I'll vote for him again. I do not care. My whole thing is like, nobody in the richest country in the world should have to be like, oh, if I lose this health care or I can't afford it, if I'm working multiple jobs so I can afford this health care, this prescription, I die in America. You understand me? She's 42. I just lost one of my close friends last year. He was 42. That's nuts. And this is what I want people to understand. Like, take out of it. I know you guys love to, box me into some fucking political group. But it's dumb. Because what I need you to understand is I don't care who you voted for. When people come in and go, would you vote for Kamala? Yeah. Yes, I did, because I didn't want a meme coin shit turd in the White House. You made me vote for someone the top cop, who I don't like, who's been promising to legalize cannabis, decriminalize cannabis forever, who is a liar. But I had to, because this absolute turd of a person is just grifting his way. He's letting your Republican friends, like you guys like to claim everything, letting their farms die. So Bill Gates or Larry Summers or some rich person could come in and buy it all up on cheap. But my point is that it shouldn't fucking matter. Americans, if you care about America, America isn't billionaires. I hate to say this, guys. I know we got a lot of them, and they come here because they don't have to pay taxes. They can buy the government, and it's like a playground for them. But guys, if you say I love America, most of America is working people, and it shouldn't matter what religion or what color hat they wear for politics. We should all be like, no one at 42 should have to worry about affording a blood thinner so they stay alive. No one. See, and this is what I mean. There's people like Jeff. Oh, hold on. Oh, he's a fucking Albanian bot. But I'll address it. When people say YouTube is full of blue team whiners, number one, his understanding, his comprehension is obviously not there. He's a moron. As I specifically said, I've never been a Democrat. But number two, when he hears me advocating for someone else that they shouldn't die at 42 for not being able to afford a blood thinner, he thinks that's whining. I know this is a bot farm, and these billionaires really pay people a lot to come in and, control these bot farms to try to sway the narrative or convince younger people. That's really what they're doing. They're trying to convince some of these young people and some of these older people, the boomers who had it great that own their home, and then some of these younger people who are impressionable. Why do you think Kirk went to colleges? So he can make these younger people think it's cool to just be a jerk and not make sure everybody can live or have their necessities met, or just be racist and, disguise it as, a philosophical argument. It's like, no, when you say you don't trust someone because of their skin color, this is fucking racism, and you guys are no good for the country. It's absolutely poisonous. And that's why these Ben Shapiro types, these Ben Shapinos, they go to college campuses because they want to impress. They want to dunk on someone for a clip they put online. So then the college kids, the young kids will think that's cool or funny, and it's not cool. And it's sad. It's sad. And the saddest part is that, these people also will have, a GoFundMe for their fucking healthcare. Not realizing that, buddy, I'm fighting for all of this. Is Tom bringing up Leviticus? I don't like when people start trying to go to the Old Testament. If you're Jewish and you're just bringing up the Torah, whatever it's called, then that's fine. But Christians, don't fucking come in here with Leviticus. Just go to the red parts of the Bible where Jesus spoke. That's what's important. Healthcare would be cool. Root, thank you. See, and this is why I don't like talking about Kamala, because people start to go what would be better? And this is what you don't understand. Again, I'm just going to lead with this one thing on why Kamala would be better. And it wouldn't be better for me. It would be better for the soy farmers that voted for Trump, as in this headline back in April when they were begging. Here's the headline. I'm a soy boy farmer who voted for Trump. I'm begging the president to end the trade war. Just so everybody knows, the tariff trade war has not ended. It's just gotten much crazier since April. But this was posted in April in the Free Press, link down below so you could read it for yourself. And here's the thing. I voted so this wouldn't happen to the farmers who voted for Trump for this to happen. Donald Trump was not secretive about tariffs. He talked about them a lot, and people were like, oh, cool, I'll take a BuzzFeed quiz and see if I'm a tariff guy. And these people voted to ruin their own lives, while I had to vote to be like, oh, these people that, talk about Christ on the cross, where he says, forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they do. So I voted to try and make sure that we didn't have a trade war that would make Republicans beg their president to end. Okay? You understand? And that's the only thing I'm going to go into. Because Because again, I'm not a Democrat. I don't think if we voted all blue, we'd get universal health care. And I think we need a real party for the workers, like Graham Plattner. He's a great guy. You might know him from saying this.
And the enemy is the oligarchy.
Graham Plattner, look him up. We've talked about him here on the live stream. A guy out of Maine who served in the military, was an oyster farmer. Now he's going to take on Susan Collins. But there's a lot of bots in here. So the real people that are in here, you know, you're going to see these bots that want you to believe that it's Democrat versus Republican. Guys, that is, if you think that's the country, then that is not freedom. You don't have freedom if you have to choose between one of two things. It's saying like, we have so much freedom, you can only drink Pepsi or Coke. It's like, oh, what's the free? That's an illusion, guys. We should have ranked choice voting. We should totally get away with this Republican Democrat two-party system. And yes, there are bots. I hate to break Tom. Maybe you're a boomer. Poor boomers. They don't understand how much money. There are bots. Lots of them. There's so many that Cracker Barrel made the news when they changed their logo, which no one gives a about. And these intelligence companies were like, Peak Metrics was like, oh, 44% were high bot activity, 49% coming from bots. So there's a lot. Why? Well, because the people in charge, like Elon, are in the Epstein files that got released. Because the president, who, when people are like, hey, we want to extend the Obamacare to people who really need to live, you know, Americans need to live. You'd think that would be the number one priority. Like, let's make sure everyone has health care. What? We can't afford it? Oh, well, why'd you raise the debt to cut taxes for trillionaires? How about we just tax billionaires? And then everyone can have health care. And this was Epstein's best friend's response. Donald's, who's Epstein's best friend, his response was, go yourself. That's a quote. Link down below to the article. And why? Because he only cares about, you know, his loyal subjects that are billionaires. He doesn't even care about the loyal subjects. Education is huge, Krista York. Yes. Trump is already subsidizing farmers by giving them a stipend. Anyone who complains about them hasn't looked into how much money we've actually brought in using tariffs. Oh, how much money? Why are the farmers still saying we're going to lose our farms? Why? Why? If you don't know, it's okay, but they can't sell their soybeans to China anymore because of the tariffs. I know you think the tariffs solved all our problems. Well, they did tax us. We are paying a lot more for food. But these farmers that, again, I continue to highlight because they continue to make news. And I just wanted to show you how old this one soy boy farmer story was from. Oh, wait, sorry, that's Trump sending $20 billion of our taxpayer money to Argentina to bail them out. But this article is from April. So I just want to show you that when we were talking about this last week, and the soy farmers crying, saying, Donald Trump, you said you loved us. Now we need to see the fruits of that love. That was a quote from a soy boy farmer in Arkansas. They've been saying this since April. Meanwhile, Trump is ready to bail out Argentina, $20 billion. Why are we still paying income taxes then? I don't know. We should get a receipt. I'm all for getting a receipt with our taxes on what the government spent our money on. Because right now it looks like a lot of it's going to Argentina. And we are not winning with tariffs. No. That's why 86% of people now, from a poll taken, say groceries are stressful to buy. It's stressing them.
Bingo!
Bingo!
I just wish we could
Legalize comedy.
right?
Why does Elon Musk dress like he just got out of a hot topic?
But here's the thing, guys.
I said, well, let's see how we say that. I said, Minifin.
Almost got it. This is what Trump said the other day, and I saved it as a clip because it was so interesting. He said this.
There's a lot of stupid people in this country running things.
We have a lot of stupid people in this country running things. I don't know if you know who's running things right now, but it's all Republicans. All Republicans running things. There's not a Democrat in charge or to be heard from when people need them. And that's why you should hit subscribe and the notification bell, because I'm here to joke with you while we all take a mental health day. Everybody gets a mental health day for the next month. We should have Halloween once a month. What do you guys think? I keep pushing this one hard because you get free candy, and I think it'd be awesome. But Donald Trump said this. These are his words the other day at the Tylenol speech that he gave, where the president, who is not qualified in the least, had another TV guy, Dr. Oz, and a Nepo baby, RFK Jr., yelling at you to...
Don't take Tylenol.
In all that rambling, if you didn't listen to it, we watched it here on the live stream. We'll watch some of it. You can go back and watch that one. And he said this. Donald said this.
There's a lot of stupid people in this country running things.
We have a lot of stupid people in this country running things. There are only Trump loyalists running things right now, folks. I hate to break it to you. I hate to. It's tyranny and oppression. Andy's candy. Donald is such an uneducated tool. I'm still in awe that he's back in the White House. Me too. But, I think he cheated to get into the White House. I think Elon and him had a lot at risk, like, potentially jail. And I think they cheated. And, 5 years ago, a lot of people were saying, not my president. This election can't be trusted. And I say, where do those people go? How come all of a sudden in 4 years, all of a sudden they trust everything? Now I'm taking up that mantle. They should be proud of me. I'm saying, not my president. I don't like this PDF file as a president. He shouldn't be in the White House. He should be nowhere near school. And I'm saying, I don't trust this election. So, because remember everybody was saying that? You guys remember? Everybody was saying it. And it's amazing how they just totally forgot, All of a sudden they're like, I trust the government. I trust these podcasters that control the government. And Polio Rogan's one of them. He's now the mainstream media. Polio Rogan program. He's, compromised. He's a state asset. He's mainstream media. Everyone he has on is friends with Peter Thiel. Loves to talk about Peter Thiel. Did we hit all the news? Was that everything in the world today? Shock Doctrine. I told you about the book. You gotta look into it. Cracker Barrel. Sinclair. Crushed Ice is here. Crushed Ice, thank you so much for the $4.99. Thank you so much. I'm always humbled when people super chat. I'm so grateful for you guys. I really am. This is the last story. Because remember, Sinclair made a big stink. They were like, we're not putting Jimmy Kimmel back on until he gives an apology and donates. And I'm sure Jim was like, right. I'm going to donate to a racist foundation. Right. That's propagating the youth, propagandizing the youth to think that saying stuff, in front of other people recorded, like if I see a black pilot, I'm going to question if he's qualified, isn't anything but racist. That's all it is. It's just that's textbook racism. And somehow that's like, this is where we're at. This is objectively stupid. This is so stupid that there's like people who are like, he was racist out of context. It's like, you don't need any more context. If Kirk says, I see a black person, don't know they're qualified because they're black, that's just racism. Guys, this is just racism. It's like the most simple. And I think maybe that's throwing people off, but this is how stupid America has become. We need education so bad because people can literally hear Chuck Kirk say stupid racist things and think there's some intelligent debate there. No, he was a racist troll. That's it. And Sinclair thought they were going to, put up a big stink and, the president was going to everybody's looking for the president to pat him on the head. And it turns out Sinclair gets nothing it asked for. Nothing. And they're putting Kimmel back on the air. Facing the threat of lost advertising dollars, Sinclair said it received thoughtful feedback from viewers, advertisers, and community leaders representing a wide array of perspectives. Nexstar separately announced its end to its blackout of Kimmel shortly after this article published. These fucking dummies. Oh my God. Sinclair said it wouldn't air Kimmel until its stations until formal discussions are held with ABC regarding network commitment to professionalism and accountability. Who do you want accountability from? A late night comic or the president? I want accountability from the highest seat of public service. Remember, he works for us. We pay for his trips to Scotland for him to open up those private golf courses. We're paying him. He works for us, people. And too many of you forgot that. Charlie KKK Irk. Thank you, Root. But these Sinclairs asking for accountability. Meanwhile, he won't release the fucking Epstein file. They want accountability from comics, but not from their president. Why? Because they want a pat on the head, and they got none of it. And they're putting Kimmel back on. Good for Kimmel. And these oppressive tyrants need to learn their lesson. Keep fighting for a better America for us who work. Mandy, I appreciate you. Thank you so. Wait, why can't I heart your thing? There we go. Thank you for the $2 super chat, guys. That means a lot to me. Times are hard. I know it's hard for you, so when I see that money, I understand how valuable that is. And let me just tell you thank you, because it does mean a lot to me. I'm looking for a second job on top of doing this live stream all the time. I know people love to come in here and say, you live in your mom's basement. Surprise, my mom's been dead for 2 decades, both my parents. I've really done a lot on my own, pulling myself up from my bootstraps. But even though I have one job and I do this for the love, I'm already looking for another one, because America, it's so hard to afford food or healthcare. Don't forget, Michael, I always like to bring that up. Once he's done with his audit, Donald will release his tax returns. Remember he said that? Because presidents usually do, so you know there's no shenanigans. He said, this was like 10 years ago, he's under an audit and he'll release his tax returns for all you who, think that he cares about you. Tom, I'm college educated. I love this. Any excuse. What else do you want to do, Tom? Now get a better education so you can get more money. Tom, listen, you can go down the list of the Republican talking points. Am I spending outside of my means? Did I eat food in the morning? Haha, I don't eat food in the morning. You know what I mean? And it's just all hatred. It's just all hatred. That's all it is. They hate other Americans. As long as they're not suffering, just like the soy farmers. They didn't care what anyone said. They were just like, we'll vote for Trump because he's going to take care of his own. And people think Trump has his own. His own is him. That's it. That's it. He'll throw anyone under the bus. You don't believe me? Go look at people who have worked for him. I usually teach people this. When I used to hire people, when I was, running big things, multi-million-dollar things, I tell people, you want to get a sense? Go talk to somebody who's left employment with somewhere, Go see how their boss treated them after, or watch how people treat after they leave employment. Watch how this guy, he's removed security detail from John Bolton. He's made their lives more dangerous. He's, verbally attacked them. He's done the political violence words. And that's real suspect, And go talk to people who have worked for me. They'll tell you who I am. No, Tom, I'm not running multi-million-dollar things right now. But again, thanks for all your hatred against another American. There's just another American hating on Americans to be able to afford food. That's such an American thing, Tom. I bet you're also one of those people who thinks they know Christ. It's so shallow and vapid of you to just, love to hate other Americans. Every American should have 2 jobs, right, Tom? With a name like Tom, that's a suspect name if I've ever heard one. It's horrible. I'm a big advocate for Americans working one job, being able to buy a home, have no medical debt, have no school debt, be able to go to any school you want for free. How do you like that? That's going to upset some people. Paid for by billionaires' taxes. And if they can't afford 100% tax on anything over 999 million, that means they'd just be 999 millionaires. If they can't afford to live with 999 million, then let me say this. Billionaires, you're living outside of your means. And then people like Mandy, people like me, we don't have to worry about healthcare costs. Kids with pre-existing conditions, we don't have to worry about that stuff. We can just afford to live, It's sickening. There's people like Tom, probably a bot, in the chat just hating on Americans, wanting everyone to work 3 jobs. It's gross. And those people, don't hit subscribe. For the rest of you, go ahead, hit subscribe. We're fighting for a better way. We're fighting to de-propagandize people, to stop thinking like you should have multiple jobs and that's success. No. You should be able to work 1 minimum wage job, because remember, FDR, if you're new to the channel, FDR, when he implemented the minimum wage in the 30s, he meant for it to be the wages of a decent living, not a bare subsistence level. Those are his words. And he said, if your business can't employ somebody and pay them enough to live, that means education, health, recreation, as I cited earlier. This is FDR's words when he put in the minimum wage. He meant for it to be get an education, have health care, and have many times of recreation off of minimum wage. And you've been so propagandized by Joe Rogan, who's mainstream media, and these corporate powers, 6 corporations own all the media, and the billionaires own the platforms, that you've been so propagandized. You think you telling Americans have to work multiple jobs to afford to live is somehow cool? I don't know what you think. You sound just rotten on the inside. Rotten to the core. Your parents should have told you that, you know? If I ever watch any of my kids see a homeless person and be like, they just didn't work hard enough. Punishment. God, that's how you raise your kids, folks, okay? And you say, no, you don't know what happened, man. He could have been like my brother, who lost his parents at 15 years old, and worked his ass off, and then just fell victim to all of this system and how it's meant to be. Don't listen to a Nepo baby. This dude, he would have nothing without Fred Trump. Nothing without his daddy. Okay? So it's gross that people, and you shouldn't have to work, Christy. You shouldn't. There are people that are disabled. There are people that can't functionally do it. And I'm all for you just being able to eat and have your medication without worrying about work. That's gross. We're America. We have billionaires. They didn't work. They didn't earn $1 billion. We have a guy who might become a trillionaire. And he gets a lot of our tax money. And people are like, yeah, you gotta work. He tweets all day. These people aren't working hard, and they've convinced you to hate on other Americans, and it's so sick. That's why we all need a mental health day. I've officially given everybody a mental health day, says the Lord. You get a Sabbath rest for his people. You're all his people. These people are so sad. You know what's lazy? Your thought process. You thinking that a disabled person should have to work to afford to live. You thinking that people should have to work to afford their medicine to live. This is not the best country then. That's what you're saying. That is true, Mandy. All right, guys. Again, spread love. Don't listen to the bots. All these Ben Shapiro fans who are like, listen, I know my parents were very rich, but I sit and do a podcast. That's a real job, and you should just get a real job. They love the Joe Rogans, the Jordan Petersons, the Paul Stone Davidsons, they love the Cash App Patels and the Dan Vaginas, all the podcasters who tell them just work harder, and they don't see the irony in it. But I think we covered all of the news that could possibly be news today. I don't think there was any other news unless something happened right now. Then we didn't cover it. But I wanted to bring up that bot farm army because you see them all the time. They're trying to sway the narrative. So, folks, I know you don't have the AI chat GPT identifying glasses like I do, but when you're reading something or you see something go viral, think, could this be persuaded by a bot army? Could it be? And then that's what we got to look into now. Because they're controlling all the media. But Thorben, KRAR, Crushed Eyes, Mandy, and if I missed anybody, I appreciate you guys being here. I love doing this. Thank you guys for the super chats. It's always rad. Getting some support, because this is ideally, when people say get a job, I want one, just like Joe Rogan. Well, actually, I did radio for a long time, but I want to help deprogram people. Stop telling people, that you should die if you can't afford the spiked cost of medicine. I can't believe people here are like, oh yeah, we gatekeep healthcare and that's okay. You know, people working multiple jobs can't afford food, and that's like American. Like, no, one job, you know, 16 hours a week, and you should be able to live. Meanwhile, there's going to be a trillionaire, and they're like, yep, that's fine. Don't tax him. He can't afford it. He's not living outside of his means. Oh, it's so funny. These sad, sad people. Sassimo, good to see you. Yep, billionaires tell you to pick a side, then pitch you against each other to profit off the chaos. They need chaos to thrive. All right, Thorben, good to see you. Good to see everybody. Appreciate you guys. Don't worry, we're going to get America back to the days where you could just work one job and not be held hostage to these healthcare CEOs and Wall Street's expectations and BlackRock and Blackstone buying up all the homes so everybody has to rent. And then they get to price fixed all the rental prices, and everybody's worried about the cost of egg. We're going to get there. We got to just keep planting seeds in people's minds. All right, much love. Hit subscribe. Not you, Tom, but everybody else. Oh, you must be the Tom from the Paul Betts David Stone show. Nobody likes him anyway, so that makes sense. You're just mad, man, but I want you to have health care and paid time off and paid parental leave if any woman decides to mate with you at some point. I don't see why they would, but, you know, hey, there's someone for everyone, hopefully. And I would want you to have paid parental leave, too. So, have a good one. Peace. Be kind. Be kind. Remember, love everyone.